What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, welcome to the off season. Do we talk about the team in blue? I don't want to talk about that team, dude. No,
It's a busy off season already. We're
we
not
are.
even 24 hours into it. We already got something going.
We're not even 24 hours into the off season, but I mean, our off season's been going for a month now, and we've been working it pretty good, but yeah, no, a lot of news, I guess, early on here, probably trades that were done in previous days, weeks, maybe, depending on who you're talking to and things like that. I'm sure there's more to come. It's always been a theme for the Angels, it seems like, with at least with Perry Minasian, and the Braves are this way too, early and often. Seems to be a theme, and that's exactly what the Angels have done today. As we're putting this podcast out, I guess depending on when I put this out, I don't know when I'm putting it out yet, Nate. So I'll be a surprise for everybody. But the Angels do acquire Jorge Soler from the Atlanta Braves. Talking about early and often for Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning, interesting. Canning coming off a rough, very, very rough year. Jorge Soler coming off a year, kind of a pretty average year for him, to be honest. Pretty normal year for Jorge Soler. But first, before we get into all the fun initial thoughts, all that stuff, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateGreen34. We have a lot of great interviews on the YouTube. If you have not seen that yet on the YouTube, that's a good one, huh? On YouTube, on wherever you were listening to this, look it up. We had Ben Joyce on. We just had TGA on, Trey Gregory Alford. We have quite a few more that we're working on in the coming weeks that already been recorded, that are going to be coming out there. So a lot of fun guests, a lot of players as well. So go check those out if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. I mean, Ben Joyce was great to talk to. TGA
Yep,
was great.
always.
The ones we haven't released yet are also a lot of fun. So just be expecting those interviews as well as breaking news like we're talking today. So don't forget, again, share it with a friend. Let them know talking Halos. Just have a lot of fun here. So initial thoughts on the trade. Big trade, interesting trade, by the way, very interesting. But give me your initial thoughts, Nate.
It's hard to be upset about the trade, honestly, because I thought Griffin Canning should have been non-tendered personally, and I think you were on the same page with that as well. Like he was a very high potential non-tender candidate, and this is the next best option. Like honestly, like he shouldn't have been in the starting rotation going into next year, and the Angels needed to get better there, and he wasn't going to cut it. So to go pick up a guy who's going to throw up a 120 WRC plus, 115 WRC plus is huge because the Angels really only had about two of those guys this year, and um, on the whole roster, and most playoff teams and competitive teams are usually running 7, 8, 9, 10 guys with 100 WRC plus or better, and the Angels really only had about two or three of those. So it's good so far. Good start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you can get an impact bat, that's what I keep hearing is impact bat. When you can get one of those, and you can get it for the salary, basically, you basically just picked up a free agent in a sense. That's kind of what it feels like to me is
Yep.
is you picked up
Yep.
you picked up a free agent because, like you mentioned, you were not probably non-tendering Griffin Canning. At least this is what this trade makes it seem like. Maybe the Braves are really interested in him, and they keep him around. He's probably going to be about $5 million. I don't know. And the Angels
There's still a
might
chance that they non-tender him.
exactly. There's a chance that the Braves non-tender him as well. And at that point, he probably goes somewhere as a minor league free agent. And I mean, Griffin Canning, third round pick from Southern California, went to UCLA, Santa Margarita kid. So it hurts to see that side of stuff. It really does. You always wanted Griffin Canning to be a little bit better than what he was. I mean, he showed glimpses of being, a pitcher that could have been kept around for a while. But yeah, it always stinks to see it, especially a SoCal guy, someone that you hear a lot about in the SoCal baseball community, and so that's unfortunate. But yes, the return. I keep wanting to say Teoscar Hernandez, but it's not. Jorge Soler, very very good. I'm excited for it. Last year,
Second round pick Griffin Canning, by the way.
the second, yeah, second rounder. That's right.
A second.
Was supposed to be a first rounder that year, but had the shoulder
Yes.
issue, I believe. So. Last year for two teams who did play for the Braves and the Giants was a 240 hitter with a 338 on base percentage, slugged 442, had a 119 WRC plus, hits 21 home runs, 84 RBIs, 64 RBIs, 84 runs. If you can put that up, I would assume you're going to put him behind Mike Trout. I'm by no means upset with that at all. You look at what the Angels lineup probably is right now, and it's kind of it's not horrible. It's not the Dodgers, it's not a World Series caliber lineup by any means. But if everybody stays healthy, which probably won't happen, it's interesting. I mean, Luis Renifo, Zach Neto, Mike Trout, Jorge Soler, Logan O'Hoppe, Taylor Ward, Anthony Rendon, Joe Adell, Nolan Shanawalt. You have to get deeper. You have to get deeper. So that's my first question. What's the next thing the Angels need to do?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Anthony Rendon in the lineup. Anthony Rendon, you got to bring in some competition for Anthony Rendon. I don't know if you need to bring like Alex Bregman's not the answer. You don't need to bring in someone that good, but you need to bring in somebody that's going to compete with Anthony Rendon and make it tough for him. One of my favorite guys that could be available, Brett Beatty, would be an interesting guy just to see
He's
if
not
he could
available.
push.
You can't say he's available.
He, he's available. The Mets are willing to trade him.
Okay.
Yes, no, he's available. Mark Vientos won that job. It's Mark Vientos' job. He's a third baseman of the future there.
That's
Brett Beatty will be
fine. I'll
available
give
in
it to
trades
you.
this offseason. Um, Somebody like that that's going to push Anthony Rendon. Another guy who actually is available, and you can't tell me he's not, is Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers would be another interesting guy to push Anthony Rendon. Just, um, hey, if Brendan Rodgers outplays Anthony Rendon, great. We have a starting third baseman who puts up a 110 WRC plus, whatever. But like, that's one thing you need to do. Center field is an option, and obviously starting pitching is the big three that are needed. And then you get into the backup catcher relief pitching market. But um, center field, third base, and starting pitching are the big things. I'm curious to see how they go about it. Like, does Shane Bieber get a qualifying offer? Obviously, Jack Flaherty can't get a qualifying offer, so he becomes even more enticing. What does his market look like? And then they need pitching. Like I know Perry came out today and said like this is the best pitching staff the Angels have had since I've been here,
Definitely most
and I
upside.
totally understand what he's saying, but it's not good enough. Like this staff is not good enough to win a playoff series right now. It's not good enough to win uh, to make the wild card right now. So he needs to go out and add impact starting pitchers and then, add some key pieces around to make Anthony Rendon play. If Anthony Rendon gets outplayed, great. Then you have somebody to play there. But when Anthony Rendon goes down and you have to resort to whatever the Angels have resorted to the last 3 or 4 years, it's not good. So competition for Anthony Rendon, an impact starting pitcher, and I would like to see a center fielder, but if the Angels go a different direction and run Moniak out there, like that's fine. We know they're going to have a top 3 pick and they'll probably potentially top 6 pick, and they'll probably be using a center fielder. Um, Most likely would be the way they go about that. So
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I'll give you my wish list here. I know we've talked about it. In the infield, I would love to see a guy like Yohan Moncada on a very cheap deal. I know that he hasn't been good, but Yohan Moncada is just a name that's always kind of been around. As well as Miguel Rojas. I mean, he's coming off World Series with the Dodgers. Miguel Rojas play all over the diamond. Yeah, that's who you kind of want is just somebody who can play the left side of the diamond as well as second base. You don't know what you got in Christian Moore yet. I know everybody in there and their moms were saying, "What about Christian Moore? What about Christian Moore?" He's not on the 40 man yet. Like, give it a break here. Let's see what he does in spring. He's going to have every chance in the world to make the team out of spring. We all know that. Like, that's just the MO. That's how Perry works. He's there's that's Christian Moore's spot until proven otherwise, I think is fair to say. So, but yes, I do agree. I'd love to see another infielder that can play all over the diamond. Thario Estrada, the old Giants infielder, is another guy that you could probably bring in a minor league deal to some capacity. As well as, I mean, you mentioned pitching. I'd love to see Luis Severino or somebody like that. Shane Bieber is another one. I mean, somebody you got to start building the pitching staff. You got a lot of good young talent, but you need to build that staff a lot deeper because you don't have You don't have dudes yet. You have good pitchers. You have a lot of threes and fours. You don't have the ones and twos or that ace yet. You really don't. So would love to see the Angels start building up that pitching staff a little bit. And then yeah, you need a center fielder. I don't know where this happens, to be honest. I mean, Harrison Bader is really the only center fielder on the market. I know Cody Bellinger's there. I don't know if they spend that type of money.
Yet he will be, but he's not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, more than likely he's on the market. We would assume. I could be wrong. Harrison Bader is the only real center fielder on the market at the moment. Really, like when you think about it, like on the free agent market, Bader's probably the only one that's living there. Christian Pache,
Can
but
I can I
there's a couple
ask you a
others.
question that's going to piss you off?
Yeah, you're gonna piss me off, aren't you?
How much better is Harrison Bader than Mickey Moniak?
Um, Defensively, he's better. I wouldn't say offensively, I wouldn't say he's impactful, but when you're talking about having somebody that can play center field, I'll take Harrison Bader any day over Mickey Moniak. I know it's close, I know it's similar, but I'll take Bader in center field over Moniak. Moniak's shown glimpses of being good, but like I saw like you mean and plus now that outfield's weird too, by the way. Like they're also saying that Solaire's going to play the outfield a little bit. You're going to have where's Trout going to play? What are you doing with Taylor Ward? It's the last year of his contract.
Two
Adele
years
had it
left of contract. Ward has
2 years.
2 years.
Sorry, I'm thinking of an info. 2 years for Ward, but Adele had a good year, but it wasn't like I mean he batted a 190 at the end of the day, right? Like he had a year, but it wasn't great. I mean, Mickey Moniak went downhill pretty quickly. I know that he kind of caught some fire there at the end, but yeah, the Angels outfield is it fair to say the Angels outfield is the biggest question mark on this in this like in the org right now? Like you don't know what's
Yeah,
going on
that's
in the outfield.
that's why this trade made so much sense because Griffin Canning had no future in this
Yeah.
rotation. And we had one qualified outfielder last year. Like Adele went down with injury, Moniak was up and down. Ward played pretty much the whole year. Trout was hurt, and they just kind of were rotating a lot of pieces. So hopefully Soler can be a guy who can play multiple, 130, 140, 150 games, but
Not in the outfield. Hold
doing
on,
some
wait. Go back to that because you can go to your next thing.
not in the outfield,
No, you're
no,
not in
but
the
like
outfield. He's DHing
40 games in the outfield.
40 games. Yes, correct.
Doing some digging. Mickey Moniak was positive in all his numbers in center field last year. Outs above average, defensive run saved, UZR slash 150, all the big numbers that you would care about for center fielder. Harrison Bader was negative in all those numbers last year. So for, I'm just saying, like, if I'm going to go out and spend $10 million on Harrison Bader, he better be way better than Mickey Moniak that I'm paying, $1 million to. And if he's not going to be way better than Harrison Bader, then what's the point in spending $10 million? Dollars?
No, I get
Does that
that.
make sense?
Yes, that's fine. You don't have a reliable center fielder right now. You really don't. And Harrison Bader is a reliable center fielder.
Mickey Moniak is better than Harrison Bader defensively.
I'm not giving it to you just after last year.
I mean, in center field, Mickey Moniak has never had a negative outs above average. He's had one bad year. It's 2022 defensively. Other than that, he's been a pretty good defensive center fielder.
That's fine. You don't really have to sell me on it. You have to sell the Angels front office. You have five outfielders out there right now. It's a bunch of question marks at the moment. And Mickey Moniak didn't have a great year offensively last year either. I know Harrison Bader didn't either. Bring up the stats, it's fine. He batted 220 with whatever, and all that stuff. But just saying, I want a reliable center fielder at this point. Trout can't play out there every day, unfortunately. We've gotten to that point of
Well,
his
I
career.
mean, I've been saying that for the last 2 years, right? Like they should have moved Trout to a corner the last 2 years. It was pretty
Correct.
obvious.
Correct.
Um, so I think that's the biggest issue is like, hey, let's move him to a corner and let's get a center fielder in here. If it is someone we draft, that's fine. If it's Cody Bellinger, great. If it's Mickey Moniak, whatever. Mickey Moniak basically was the same player as Harrison Bader last year. Offensively, defensively, like he might have been a little bit better defensively, Moniak, a little bit worse offensively, but Um, Pretty similar player. And I'm not even a big Mickey Moniak fan, but if I'm gonna spend $10 million on a guy, like
I
he
don't think
better be
Bader's
worth
10
it.
mil, man. I gave it I said 7 on Bader, which is what I felt comfortable at.
Still, 7 mils a lot of money for a guy to have a 70, to have an 85 WRC plus and be negative everywhere in the outfield.
Fair.
Negative outs above average, negative defensive run save, negative UCR.
That's fair.
Um, I am curious to see who the third baseman is, right? Like Perry's already mentioned that Anthony Rendon's going to have to earn his job. When you make a comment like that, you need to bring in real competition because sitting here and telling me Eric Wagman is his real competition is completely a joke. They need to go out and get a real third baseman, and then, like we said, um, they need an impact starting pitcher. I don't care who it is, but it needs to be a guy that you can look at and be like, yeah, this guy's got a shot to be an ace at the end of the year. Severino's shown glimpses of that before his injury with the Yankees, and then this year he was pretty good. I wouldn't say he was ace-like, but he was good enough. Flaherty has shown ace-like stuff. Bieber's shown ace-like stuff, and then you have Corbin Burns, who I don't think the Angels will get, but um, I would like to see the Angels go out and get pitching because the way they're doing things, it makes sense, but like you need an impact arm.
I do agree with you. I mean, first day of the offseason, man. So I'm just glad that
No, I
we're
know,
able to
but
jump
you
on and
asked
talk
like
about it.
what I would do.
There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes at the moment. So, um,
Every year.
every team has holes every year. It's just how you're gonna fill those
Yeah, but
holes.
this
And
team always has a lot of holes every year. And it seems to be the same holes every year.
the Yankees are gonna have a lot of holes this year. Yankees seem to always have a
The,
lot of holes.
mm,
Yeah, yeah. Every year they have
every
holes.
year.
Every year they have everybody has holes, man. Every single year. The Oakland A's have 9 holes right now. Okay, so
I
just like
think the Oakland A's are in a better the Oakland A's are in a better spot than the Angels right now.
no, different conversation.
Yeah. No, the Oakland A's are in a better spot than the Angels.
No, the Angels aren't playing at a minor league facility. The Angels have an owner that'll spend money. I mean, hold tight there. They're not in a better situation for sure. Um,
The Oakland A's don't have Anthony Rendon's contract on their payroll.
correct. Their entire payroll is Anthony Rendon, but the Angels are in a better situation than the A's. I'd rather be an
Brent
Angels
Rooker
fan.
was Brent Rooker would have been the
Brent
best hitter on the Angels last year.
Brent Rooker was Taylor Ward.
No, he was better than Taylor Ward.
Yeah. I know the stats. Trust me, I know. You tell them to me all the time. Trust me. But
He's legit. Like the
that's
Oakland might be in a better spot.
all right. So, final thing before let's everybody go. Expectations for Jorge Soler. I know we kind of went over it a little bit. There was a lot. Perry said that he expects him to play the outfield. I want to set expectations straight there on this one. Play the outfield means hopefully 40 games. I think. I mean, if you're getting 40 games out of him in the outfield, because that's about what he averages over the past, 3 years, I think is what we came to. 4 years ago, when was that? 2021 was when he, or
Yep,
2019,
2021, 22.
2021, he played 90 games in the outfield, but he's not a very good defender. If he is a 245 to 250 hitter with 25 home runs, 75 RBIs, and a 115 WRC plus over the next 2 years for the Angels, they did something pretty good here.
Yep.
Regardless, I'm gonna give this trade an A because it's a free agent signing. In all honesty, like when you think about it, it's a free agent signing. You didn't give up anything that you were crazy. I thought they were gonna give up something a little bit more than that. So there's that. And also, like I said, just it's a free agent signing for $13 million or $14 million, whatever the payroll hit is. So
Or it's
14.
$16 million that the Angels will have to pay him a year for the next 2 years, but according to the luxury tax, it's only 14 because he signed a 3 year, $42 million deal. I've seen a lot of different reports on that. Like that is what he signed. Like
Yeah.
it's not 13, it's not whatever everyone's saying. Like he is owed 16 over the next 2 years, 32 million over the next 2 years, and his contract was 3 years, 42 million. So
Did I hit the
yes,
expectations
they
right
took
for
on
you?
some salary.
Did I hit
Yeah,
the
I think
expectations?
that's where he's at. I think he's a 240 hitter with 25. I think he's got a chance to hit 30 bombs. Um, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he has to hit 30 bombs though. But he's a 240 hitter with 25 bombs. Uh, with some extra bases, like he'll probably have like 35 plus doubles, a WRC plus of 115, 120. Um, gonna be a very bad outfielder though. Should only play 30, 40 games out there. And if he does play out there, like in the seventh, eighth, ninth inning, like there should be a new guy in for him.
Yep. Yep.
So
Mickey Moniak. There you go. Harrison Bader. That's why you need another That's why you need another outfielder too. Luis Renifo, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
well, I mean, right now, if you look at it,
Oh,
Trout's probably in the corner. Um, maybe Adele's in a corner, Moniak's in center. I don't know. Ward is the interesting piece because Mike Trout cannot be your starting center fielder going into next year.
he can be your starting center fielder. You just can't play. You just can't put him out there 162 games. You need to manage the workload a little bit out there. You got to put him in left. You got to DH him a
Mike
little bit.
Trout cannot be your starting center fielder going into next year. If that is your answer for center field going into next year, we will be looking up
How,
in May
how many games do you
disappointed
want Mike
because
Trout to
Mike
play in
Trout is
center
hurt.
field? How many games do you want Trout to play in center field?
Zero.
You want Trout to play
Zero.
0 games in center field?
Zero. Zero.
I don't know about that, man. You can play games. It's a whole Jorge Slayer thing. Like Jorge Slayer can play the outfield. Just you don't want Trout
Zero.
in center field for 162 games anymore.
I I don't want him in center field at all.
And
I
he's
want him to play
fine.
a corner every
Just
single day.
manage the work. That's fine. And if it's for a
DH here
different
and there.
podcast, we're ending this podcast. Are you good? You have anything else you
Yeah,
need to
that's
say?
fine.
All right, all
No.
right, all right, all right.
Jorge Suarez is the next guy to get moved.
Jorge Suarez. What are you okay today?
No.
Jorge Suarez?
I
No, I can see that. Still sick. Still sick.
yes, I am. Jose Suarez has got to be the next guy to move.
All right.
No, that guy can't be on the roster.
Oh my God.
I will lose it if he's on the roster opening day.
All right. All right, guys. All right. So for all of us here at Talking Halos, really do appreciate you watching and tuning in here. Let us know your thoughts on the Angels off season so far. You can follow Nate on X at NateGreen34. Myself at Jared_Tims. Don't forget to follow all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up Talking Halos. Check out the previous episodes of Talking Halos, Ben Joyce, TGA. We had Taylor Blake Ward on as well. We got plenty more interviews to come. We've already recorded. We're getting them rolling here for you guys. We're super excited. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.